We've all heard this. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. You need to stop what you're doing. You cannot possibly carve like World Cup racers without mastering the fundamental underlying technique. Here's the deal. You are never going to achieve those extremely high edge angles and lightning fast transitions you see on TV if you keep extending up, into and through the transition. No, you need to flex down through the transition. You need to learn how to flex to release. You need to learn how to stay low during the transition. Maybe you are aware of this type of skiing, but you have no clue as to how it's done or how to practice it. No worries. In this video, I will help you read that old dreaded up move and guide you on the right path to high performance carving using one simple drill only. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Tom from TDK Ski Racing, combining ski instruction with race coaching, here to help you become a better skier. Let's start with a fictional story. Sarah had been skiing since she was a little kid and became a quite successful FIS ski racer in her days before retiring into college, a day job, and junior coaching. But she's still ripping and tearing the slope apart, with a mental picture in her head that she's skiing like Schifrin. Aren't we all? Not much to her surprise, she didn't, but she wasn't expecting the difference to be that huge. When she saw the footage of herself on video, at first she didn't even recognize it was her. And she even made a comment of how high that person was extending into the transition when compared to Chris. Sarah's story is unfortunately not that uncommon. In fact, I think most of us have a false perception of how we ski, and we can more or less all identify ourselves with her in her situation. As we can see from the footage, as she comes out of the turn, she extends herself up at all joints, ankles, knees, hips and waist. And the reverse as she exits the transition and starts tipping into the turn. It's a combination of primarily two things. One, an old ingrained movement pattern where we extend legs and upper body at edge change to up unweight and pivot our skis into a basic skidded parallel turn. 2. The old ingrained coaching cue, the athletic centered stance, in which we strive to align our hips up and over our feet at all times. Even if both transitions are used for vastly different applications, both force your hips and upper body up and over at edge change. Note, these are both valid techniques, but not in this context where we want to stay as low as possible and be as quick as we can from edge to edge. If we look at World Cup racers in slalom, it is more than obvious that they are not extending into the transition. No, they are flexing into the transition. If you watch closely, after pushing off at the starting gate and after a few gates into the racing track, they do not stand tall and straight up anywhere on the course before crossing the finishing line. So why are coaches and instructors still forcing their athletes and students up at transition? There are, of course, multiple, even valid reasons, but one common belief is still that World Cup ski racers do extend into the transition. And here's why. It's because of our bone structure. Our lower legs need to vault from side to side like a motorcycle, and if you look at the knees from straight ahead, you can see that they are forced to travel up in a half circular motion and then back down again, tipping back and forth from one turn to the next. As a direct result, also our hips and upper body are forced to move up and over. This can easily trick us into the false illusion that World Cup racers and expert skiers still extend into transition, even if they do the complete opposite. Their center of mass goes up, but they are flexing their legs at the same time. And after the transition, their center of mass drops as they are extending their legs. Why? Simple. As in the turn itself, when our skis are turning and the turn forces acting upon us are the greatest, we want to be extended and stacked. While in the transition, we just want to be as quick as possible from edge to edge. At the end of the turn, as you approach the transition, start releasing the turn by flexing your outside leg and releasing the outside skis inside big toe edge from shaping the turn. A good visual cue is the ski tip coming up off the snow. Keep retracting your outside leg until you reach the infamous toilet seat position. This position, so often considered bad by coaches, instructors, and TV commentators, is just as much a part of high-performance carving as Usain Bolt leaning forwards in a 100-meter dash for Olympic gold. Note that when you flex to release, you don't always have to flex very deep. Flex to release can be done at moderate speeds, as Chris shows here in his javelin drill demo. Back to Sarah. Let's put Chris and Sarah side by side and compare positions. The difference is striking. Chris stays low and carves surprisingly sharp turns with his giant slalom skis, while Sarah extends up and struggles to engage her slalom skis quickly enough for a clean, tight carve. Let's see how both skied on the racetrack, just to make sure Sarah doesn't alter her technique on the course. First, let's watch Chris' entire run, then Chris and Sarah side by side. Nice run by Chris, second fastest on the track that day. But as we can see from the footage, the same pattern is repeating. Chris is flexing nicely through the transition. Sarah is extending. Sorry for the bad video quality on Sarah's part, as it was made in a rush. But if we look at another ski racer in a similar situation, we can see the same extension pattern repeating. By now, we should have a basic solid understanding of what flexing through the transition is and the benefits. Quick transition, early pressure, high edge angles, tighter turns, and an undisrupted flow of the center of mass down the slope. Next, let's see how you can incorporate this technique into your own skiing. here's the drill I promised you at the beginning of the video. One of my all-time favorite drills. But first, a short recap just to remind us what we are trying to do. The traditional way of skiing is to extend into the transition and flex throughout the turn. We want to reverse this movement pattern. We want to do the complete opposite. We want to flex at transition and extend throughout the turn. On a very easy groomer, start out by skiing across the slope extended. Then flex down and drop your arms low. Don't worry if your weight is back and you feel like you are sitting on the toilet seat or in a chair. This is only a drill. As you roll your skis onto their new edges, extend your legs. Note, because you are starting to turn, this extension move where you straighten out your legs will not cause you to stand up. The extension is diagonally in the lateral plane, causing your whole body to be inclined into the turn, pulled down by gravity. However, because the turn forces quickly kick in, all forces are balanced out, keeping you from falling to the inside. You sometimes hear that to start a carved turn, you should fall to the inside of the turn. This may be the case if you are standing upright and tall at edge change or just skiing for fun, but as Ted Ligety once told me, you should not fall or drop into the turn. You should push yourself into the turn. And the only way you can push yourself into the turn is from a flexed low position. Push yourself horizontally towards the next gate. Be sure to spend enough time going across the slope for you to flex down properly between the turns. After you get the hang of it, shorten the time spent between the turns until you are linking carved turns with distinct pressure and floating phases. If you are not getting tired in your legs, you are not doing this drill properly. It is very hard on your leg muscles. Common mistakes are not bending from your knees as you flex down. You only break at the waist. Another is extending up at the start of the turn, even if you started out in a flexed position. Many ski racers use this kind of retraction transition without knowing what they are doing. However, if you do not coach your students how to flex to release, some of them might never learn this technique properly and fail to reach their fullest potential as they never skied well enough to start with. Like Chris, anyone can be taught how to flex through the transition and incorporate it into their own skiing. Let the students decide how good they are going to be, and you decide how good you are going to be. That's all, folks. I hope you have enjoyed this lesson, and please subscribe and share and give me thumbs up if you found this video useful. Also, please leave a comment in the commentary section below. I will personally read every comment and answer any questions you have. Or send me clips of your skiing to my email for personal motion analysis or simply just for fun. Stay tuned for more videos in the near future. Ski safely and see you out on the slopes.